What is good, YouTube? It's your boy Flames back at it again with another video. Today, we're about to be reading out of Numbers chapter 33. Without further ado, get right to it, man. Chapter 33. Stages in Israel's journey. Here are the stages in the journey of the Israelites when they came out of Egypt by divisions under the leadership of Moses and Aaron. At the Lord's command, Moses recorded the stages in their journey. This is the journey by stages. The Israelites set out from the Ramesses on the 15th day of the first month, the day after the Passover. They marched out defiantly in full view of the Egyptians, who were burying all their firstborn, whom the Lord had struck down among them. For the Lord had brought judgment on their gods. The Israelites left Ramesses and camped at Succoth. They left Succoth and camped at Etham, on the edge of the desert. They left Etham, turned back to Pi-hahiroth, to the east of Baal-zephon, and camped near Migdol. They left Pi-hahiroth and passed through the sea into the desert. And when they had traveled for 3 days in the desert of Etham, they camped at Marah. They left Marah and went to Ilm, where there were 12 springs and 70 palm trees, and they camped there. They left Ilm and camped by the Red Sea. They left the Red Sea and camped in the desert of Sin. They left the desert of Sin and camped at Dophkah. They left Dophkah and camped at Elush. They left Elush and camped at Rephidim, where there was no water for the people to drink. They left Rephidim and camped in the desert of Sinai. They left the desert of Sinai and camped at Kibroth Hattaavah. They left Kibroth Hattaavah and camped at Hazeroth. They left Hazeroth and camped at Rithmah. They left Rithmah and camped at Rimmon Piers. They left Rimmon Piers and camped at Libnah. They left Libnah and camped at Rizah. Now, mind you guys, this is all important because this is documenting their journey. And the Bible is an authenticator of their documentation. These are old scribes that were found. And Moses, it's here because it's important. And this was their journey, I believe, when they were wandering for 40 years. They left Hashmanah and camped at Mosroth. They left Mosroth and camped at Bein Jaakan. They left Bein Jaakan and camped at Hor Haggadah. They left Hor Haggadah and camped at Jothbah. They left Jothbah and camped at Arbanah. They left Arbanah and camped at Ezon Geber. They left Ezon Geber and camped at Kadesh in the desert of Zin. They left Kadesh and camped at Mount Hor, on the border of Edom. At the Lord's command, Moses the priest went up Mount Hor, where he died on the first day of the 15th month of the 40th year after the Israelites came out of Egypt. Okay, so this is their whole journey, because I was like, wait, I recognize Mount Hor. Where did I read that? That was where Aaron died. Makes sense. Aaron was 123 years old when he died on Mount Hor. Canaanite king of Arad, who lived on the Negev of Canaan, heard that the Israelites were coming. They left Mount Hor and camped at Zalmonah. They left Zalmonah and camped at Penun. They left Penun and camped at Oboth. They left Oboth and camped at Ai-Arbrim, on the border of Moab. They left Ai-Arbrim and camped at Dibon Gad. They left Dibon Gad and camped at Almon Diblathaim. They left Almon Diblathaim and camped in the mountains of Abram near Nebo. They left the mountains of Abram and camped on the plains of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho. There on the plains of Moab they camped along the Jordan from Beth Jesimoth to Abel Shittim. On the plains of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho the Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, when you cross the Jordan into Canaan, drive out all the inhabitants of the land before you. Destroy their carved images and their cast idols, and demolish all their high places." Now, something interesting when we hear about these high places, right? I was watching a video yesterday about how there's high places in even America, in high places is where they were doing these uh rituals to their quote unquote gods, which are really just demons, right? And this is talked about in Numbers. Okay, this book was written a very long time ago. I'm not sure exactly how long, a couple thousand years. Um, More than that, a few thousand years. Um, but this is like a very real thing. For example, um, just outside of Colorado Springs, like there's real high places in the earth in the world now where people do these rituals to this day. So this is not new. This has been going on for thousands and thousands of years, and it still happens today, but we just don't hear about it as much, you know, because now it's like folklore, like that's like fairy tale almost kind of viewed as like, but no, this stuff is even more prominent today than it was. I mean, maybe not, I'm not sure, but it still is a real thing where all these terrible things are happening, and for some reason, it's at these high points. I don't know what the correlation is, but I just kind of had an epiphany while reading that verse. Take possession of the land and settle in it, for I have given you the land to possess. Distribute the land by lot according to your clans. To a larger group give a larger inheritance, and to a smaller group a smaller one. Whatever falls to them by lot will be theirs. Distribute it according to your ancestral tribes. But if you do not drive out the inhabitants of the land, those you allow to remain will become barbs in your eyes and thorns in your sides. They will give you trouble in the land where you will live, and then I will do to you what I plan to do to them. Wow. So, some words of instruction there at the end. Um, but yeah, that is looks like it's it for the rest of this video. And yeah, I'm about to see you in a sec. I'm about to make the next video right now. Tomorrow will be our last day in numbers, and then we'll be moving on to Deuteronomy. Um, I really appreciate y'all for watching. Thank y'all so much, and I'm gonna catch y'all tomorrow. Peace. Yeah, right now. Peace.